That's Bill finally.
Reiss, you're mad.
Finally going there on the Patriots after a month. He kind of really actually talks about them in earnest.
Petty. So petty.
I don't think it is. I really don't think there's anything he said in there that's wrong.
No.
But
I'm talking about the beginning, not addressing it.
True.
That's petty.
That's what makes it petty.
To the point now where you could actually break the team down. He's right on it all. And he actually talked about Sly being a good guy for them they got because I blew it on the kicker a year ago.
He does. He does admit that his pick of Chad Ryland was not a good one. What did he say? Much better? Did he say much better than what we had last year?
Yeah, but it's like I think you
much
feel
improved?
Like the damage has been done. Is that the way you feel a little bit?
Yeah, I think I shared how I felt a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Same.
Which is what?
Can I do a Belichick? Like, should we get the transcript? Remember Belichick used to say that? No,
it bugged him a little bit.
We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago.
Bill's bugging you because you, as you've said, there's a lack of accountability on Bill's part for his role in
the way I said it was. What he can do whatever he wants. Like I would never tell him what to do.
Right.
It's how I receive the analysis that he's giving.
Yeah, you got to give an opinion on it.
And well, I don't have to. I did. I'm accountable for it. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. That's how I felt when they had the week 1 win, and there was no conversation about it. And then we saw what happened after that. So
I think it probably got to a point with this interview that they had to say to him, Bill, we're going to have to ask you about the Patriots.
Yeah,
it's been a month.
And his analysis was good. I mean, he's right, what he said. And I like that he referenced the kicker because it accounted for some of the things that happened when he was here.
Well, Mike, without special teams, that game would have looked different on Sunday.
Definitely.
It's almost like that 13 you put on the board at the end of the day makes it look like you had some real movement on offense when, in fact, you just did. The offense is just stuck in neutral.
Takes them it's like, call it like the regional train versus the Acela. Like,
the regional train still gets you there.
Yeah, sometimes. more potential for breakdowns.
I call it more the red line to Braintree over the last month more than the regional train. And the red line to Braintree was shut down. They weren't running the trains.
That's a double pumper.
Yeah. So actually, it's a perfect lead-in. Can I give you my 3?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to disrupt your rhythm.
That's what we're here for.
So it actually plays off of what Bill had talked about, which I thought was great. But what he pointed out, he said the most time to throw. So let's give you the numbers as point number 1. Brock Purdy had 3.47 seconds average to throw from snap to throw.
Yep.
Next Gen Stats computes that. Easily the highest total in the league. So the Patriots pass rush is not getting home. Jerod Mayo talked about how they've in the past been able to manufacture pass rush. He talked about that when they traded Matthew Judon. They're not manufacturing it, and it's a problem because you're asking Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar when he's healthy. That's a good secondary, but no secondary, in my opinion, can hold up that long, that consistently. So that's number 1, getting more out of the pass rush, as that was well said. Number 2, I would say just the general talent difference between the teams. To your point, Beetle, like 13 points. When you have the talent difference between the two teams, you have to play a near-perfect game to have a chance, and they weren't close to that. So that's the obvious one, and I would just add to that, no different than what we've talked about in past weeks. I do think it's going to take them more than 1 year to get the talent they need. It's obvious, left tackle and a top explosive receiver that can get open on the quarterback's first or second read. It's hard. It's hard to do it all in one off season, so not to spare them the accountability for that, but that's what they need in my view. And you saw what that means when the other team has it. And I would say number 3, just going back to coaching, we talked about it last week, Beetle, with Jerod Mayo and Ramondre's fumbles and setting the edge. We had the same conversation. He said, like, they have to do it, and they're not doing it. And so after the game, I asked him, I said, Jerod, if you're telling them to set the edge and they're not setting it, we didn't talk about the fumbles, but the same topic. Do you have to now remove those players from that situation so they no longer have the opportunity to do it? And because your words need to have meaning. And I think his answer hinted to me that he might be trending in that direction.
Yeah, and I would think so. And you don't really want to sit a guy because you need the guy. And he's a very, very big part of what you are offensively. He's one of your lone stars, really, is Ramondre. But you also got to send a message to the team. And you can't, and this is part of the Pete Carroll thing. Big-time guy like Bill Parcells, you would fumble, you would sit. Pete comes in, you fumble, you play. Just say sorry. It's like that. That's where the guys go, oh, we got it around here. Nice and lax. Nice and relaxing. Oh, this is going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to chill. That's what you got to worry about.
I heard Andrew Callahan refer to it this morning in a pretty fun way. He said, it's like your kid gets the D on the test, and he just comes home and says, I'll do better next time, and that's it. He goes to his room and keeps playing, video games or whatever. There's no real punishment involved, right? It's something along those lines where it's like, oh, okay, he took a series off, and because he wants to not fumble, go back in. I think it comes down to they don't have great depth at the position, right?
And I look at it this way, Beto. I think sometimes, even if you're giving your team a lesser chance to win the game, sometimes you need to make those decisions because it's the totality of the room. You need what you say to have weight behind it. So to take Andrew Callahan's analogy further, because I can relate to this at home, this is not my strength, Beto. I might tell my kids, don't do that. And they do it. And I might tell them again, don't do that. I just said, don't do it. And they do it again.
You beat them, huh?
And they don't listen to you, huh?
And I might say, don't do that. And they do it again. Like at some point, I have to stop saying, don't do that. And there has to be some weight behind my words to say, okay, we're going to take away your phone. Like I think any parent could relate to that or whatever it is. And I'm saying it respectfully because it must be hard being a head coach, right? Like, and how you do that. So that's my whole point. And I'm not, to be frank, talking about just Ramondre. Like, I would say add the edge. That edge is an issue.
Right.
You talked about it from Geno Smith in week 2.
Issue.
And well, in this case, Keon White. So that was the first 2 third downs, and then the third down, a combo with Dietrich Wise. And so I'm just thinking of it.
That was the ugly one.
So if you're, and ask Zoe as a player.
But of those 3 players you named, the guy I'd want to hold most accountable, this is also like a parenting thing because you have expectations for each guy, is Wise. Like, you look at the other 2 and you're like, okay, young player still learning in Keon White. You look at Uche and you say, okay, he is what he is. Like, Dietrich Wise, you can't have mistakes. The same way I look at Ramondre Stevenson, like, we can't have this mistake from you. You're one of our best players on offense. Dietrich Wise, I can't have mistakes coming from you. You're one of our best guys, one of our veteran leaders on that defense. Like, there's different expectations for different guys, too, right?
I get that. I guess the way I was thinking about it is if he's been pounding this point home to the players, and then on the first third down of the game, Keon just runs, I don't know, I have to remind myself of the play, but he's going up against Trent Williams, and I write down, 3rd and 3, he loses the edge, and that's when Purdy scrambled out to that side. If I'm one of the other 10 defensive players... No, that was just the first third down. And if I'm one of the other defensive players and I heard the coach saying this, and then that happens on the first third down, I'm like, okay, we all make mistakes. Moving on. Then you get to the next third down, 3rd and 7, or 3rd and 4. And again, same thing happens. And this was a play that Purdy again scrambled out for 5 yards, another first down. So it happened twice on the first 2 third downs of the game for them. And then the third one was the combo rush. So we'll see. I think at some point you have... When do you get to the point where you have to have some action behind your words?
Well, I'm starting to get concerned about the defense in that if they are now battered to the point of, they lost. Losing Bentley is big. Losing Barmore is big. They traded away Judon. You're talking about, are they now a different defense than what we thought they were? And if they're going to be caught in bad situations like they were Sunday and creating problems for themselves, how many points does the offense have to score to be in some of these games? And they're not scoring really any.
I think that's fair.
It's kind of a big concern about how many wins they can actually pull out of the hat.
Yeah, and I don't know if I heard you mention Duggar. I mean, Duggar got hurt in this game.
Andrews is the killer.
And Andrews at center on the offensive side. But to your point on defense, the
defense was their only hope. That's my point.
Right,
and if they're not what we thought they could be, what is the level of hope we should have?
No, I think they are. I think they are what you thought they can be, and I just think you just see it in stretches to where they really got to put it together. Like they clean up that edge crap, it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
because they got guys that can cover.
And maybe getting Jennings back though would help.
Should be back. Yeah, that'll help. Yep. And maybe you get something from Taki. Maybe you get something from Mapu.
Yep.
You know, those two guys are trending to play.
This would basically be kind of a panic move to throw Drake Maye into this fire and do it off of the plan of what maybe they had set up going or their thoughts going into the year. I agree with them. I also think it would be more a symptom of what has gone on as opposed to more of it, right? It's not like the root thing. At this point, you're so deep into the dysfunction, you're like, well, we got to do something, right? And it's been a bit of a mess here for several years, and we can't continue to just trot out Jacoby Brissett, so we're going to go to the kid. We're going to try it.
Really?
I don't think that trying it is panicking or thinking we're disorganized and we have no plan. I wouldn't view it like that if they decided to do it, even if, in their mind, he's not totally ready.
I wonder if I'm going to get out of here alive today. Because
Okay.
I'm different. I look at it different from you guys. I view it from a risk-reward standpoint.
Okay.
And to me, the risk of putting him in right now is greater than whatever the potential reward could possibly be. And I will defer to Zoe from this standpoint. Like, you played the position. You have so much, obviously, respect.
Yeah.
I've never done it. All I do is press play and watch the plays over and try to see the picture. And what the picture looks like to me, which would concern me if you put Drake Maye in, is when Jacoby's at the top of his drop, what you're seeing is not friendly to a quarterback. And I feel like that could take Drake in a bad direction, whereas Jacoby is more equipped to handle it based on his experience.
Follow up.
Yeah.
Do you want Drake to play this season?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us a week?
Like let's so we said actually this was a checkpoint. Remember we talked about that last week.
Yep.
So checkpoint.
Checking in.
Let's see what it looks like in 2 more weeks.
Let's do that.
Give them these 2, and then they're going to London. I don't know if London would be the best.
4 or 5.
But
So this is, I mean, so really we only disagree about the when, not if.
I think yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
So we
want to see him at some
we can
point
find
this
some common
season.
ground. You want to see him this season. I want to see him this season. In fact, I would tell you, Mike, I'm going to give you some credit here. If you're using your best judgment when it comes to risk versus reward, you are absolutely right about it, and I am wrong.
So
I'm going to admit I am wrong, but at sometimes
I don't know how to handle this.
Sometimes you just do things against your better judgment. You do. And I have no answer to that. When you say, well, isn't there more risk in starting him now as opposed to starting him week 10 or 11? And I would say, you're right. There is. It is risky. I can't tell you you're wrong.
So my feeling is by waiting, you reduce the risk. You sort of shorten the runway, if that makes sense.
It does.
And I would like to give the offensive line a little time to try to settle into a combination. The David Andrews thing, I think, is huge and can't be overstated. His importance, and I'm concerned for David and the team based on the way he came out of the game. I didn't see a play where I saw him like dangle the shoulder, which makes me think he was trying to play through discomfort and that he felt like he couldn't go. He is so tough. That makes me nervous.
My feeling, this is just total guess.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him. He's had this thing, and that's why he hasn't been practicing. I don't know if everyone's picked up on that. David Andrews has not been practicing. He's been
the Wednesday rest days on the pads. Yeah.
So, he is not a guy who's taking. I get the injury report like you do, Mike, and it's veteran rest day, and you're like, David Andrews is not a guy who takes rests. He's not a guy who wants to rest. He is a football player through and through. He wants to be out there. He doesn't like just taking a break. So give me a break with that. And I think we found out what it is.
So
he's got a nagging shoulder thing that he's played through before. I don't know if it was the same shoulder. So is it the same shoulder or a different
I'm not sure.
And there was one play on the first drive where a defensive tackle sort of got into him a little bit, and he was high. It was a run for minus 1 yard, and that was the one where I thought to myself, if I'm trying to think like David, maybe he's just, I can't be as effective as I want to be. I feel like I'm hurting the team more than helping, which has to kill him, knowing him, to do that. So I might have to come to the realization that center spot is going to be what it is, but maybe getting Vidarian Lowe back at left tackle, I can't believe that's really what it's come to, but he's been the best of a shaky lot. So you get him back in there. City So to me is a starting caliber left guard. Just needs to play a little bit and knock off some rust. The center spot we talked about, right guard, Layden Robinson is hanging in there. Maybe showed, though, I thought, a little signs of his rookie status in this last game.
Yeah, he got
get beat a couple times on the 4th and 1 run that got stopped. And Awenu at right tackle, I don't think has been as good as you would hope, but I still think he's a starting caliber player. So maybe just get that squared away, and maybe Kendrick Bourne can help a little bit on the receivers.
So I've given you some credit here, Mike.
I'll give you credit, too.
I'd like you to give me something.
Coming your way.
You've got to tell me that things could potentially get better, a little bit better, with Drake Maye over Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
There are elements that would improve with Drake Maye.
Yes. The ability to make plays off of platform, to use the Zo terms. Is that fair, Zo? How did I do?
Yeah, you can use whatever you want.
That would, and nothing.
I feel like he's mocking you. I feel like he's mocking you right now.
Nothing.
I'm just enjoying seeing you guys put this team together. It's going to be so effing good in 7 weeks that's the spot to put him in. And then it's just going to be same old story. And there he is. What are you going to do? Well, we don't want to put him in. We don't want to.
That's kind of how I feel.
No,
I think the situation is the same in 4 weeks. So I'm saying,
and it might be, and it might be.
But as you said, you're shortening the runway.
That's the way I feel. Shorten the runway.
Yeah. You ever land in St. Bart's on a short runway? It's tough.
I think what I mean
the brakes.
So. What I mean by shortening the runway is shortening the risk,
right?
And it might be the same. And I acknowledge that, and even if it is, I'm with you. This is where I give you credit. You do make the change at some point to see what you have and to give them the experience.
So mobility, off-platform plays, the ability to get the ball out quicker, the ability to make some bigger throws. If a guy does by chance find a way to slip past a defender or create some separation, Kendrick Bourne might be able to do that for them. I don't know, but there are some things that would get better with him. And his understanding of the offense is not going to be what it is for Jacoby Brissett. I understand that. His ability to sense the rush will not be what it is for Jacoby Brissett. But from what I can see, Jacoby Brissett's not feeling it so great right now either. I mean, guy's getting hammered out there.
He's getting hammered. I would say other than the interception and maybe getting the ball out a little bit quicker on a few plays from what I saw, I think he's doing what they expected him to do. The interception, I would say, Fred Warner, that guy, we don't see a lot of him. He went 10 yards or 15 yards of depth on his drop from the snap to catching that ball, and that was impressive play.
Yeah,
great play.
Zoe was not happy with.
And there was pressure.
Douglas was wide open, 8 yards on.
Did you see the pressure too, though? That he had pressure in his face?
There's pressure every play.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I saw a guy open.
Yep.
4 weeks, they're having big guys open. There were guys open.
There were guys open on the play. That is fair. So it was a bad ball. But I thought overall, I still put Jacoby lower on the list of the issues.
Was this Jacoby's worst game?
Yes. I would say so.
Because of the pick six, I would say yes. Because it cost him points.
He had a fumble, too.
And the fumble.
Can't forget that.
Yep.
Strip sack.
If there was another backup quarterback on this team, and Drake Maye wasn't here, right? They didn't play the game. They didn't draft Drake Maye. There's no starter in waiting. There's no rookie they're developing. It's just a bad football team with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, and name whatever random backup you have.
Bailey Zappi,
Joe Flacco, Gardner Minshew type guys. Jacoby Brissett would be benched right now. He wouldn't be playing this week. He's only playing because it is Drake Maye that's his backup.
So I'm trying to follow you. I think he is comparable to everyone you mentioned. So I think he would play.
He wouldn't play. They would bench him. Any team
for
would
Joe
bench
Flacco?
For anybody.
I don't think so.
For any average backup after that game last week, I think the Patriots would bench him. I think they're doing it right now. They're keeping him in there because of where they are and because they are protecting Drake May.
I disagree with that. I think other than the pick six and a couple plays, I feel like what he's doing, Beetle, is it's like the lemonade analogy. Like he's squeezing as much as he can out of what they have. Like I liked how they moved the pocket a little bit. That was something I was looking for. It's not pretty back there, Beetle. I think he's put in a really tough spot.
I'm not saying it's all on him. I'm just saying other teams in a bad spot after a month of this would say, let's try the other guy. Let's see what we got. That's what they would do.
No, I don't see it.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.